Now's the time for a great deal on a new Honda. Check out the Honda Prologue, Accord Hybrid, or Civic Hybrid. For a limited time, well-qualified buyers can get a 0.99% APR on a 2025 Prologue, a 2.99% APR on a 2025 Accord Hybrid, or a 4.99% APR on a 2025 Civic Hybrid.
See dealer for financing details. Exclude Civic Si and Type R.
Do you remember yesterday on the show when we had a little bit of fun on the flip side, talking about our favorite television show theme songs? I mean, this is half a television show, half radio, half TV. You get it right here on 570 News Radio. You also get it right here on Rogers TV Cable 20. And what you just heard is the original theme song to this program. It was with us for years, and I will not tell a lie. I will never lie to you. I really miss it. I loved it. I think it was suitable. It's my favorite rock and roll band of all time. And it talks about what we do on this show. We work to make things better. We work to identify issues and gaps in the community. And we're all welcome to participate in that. But I was told not too long ago, it's a little jarring for 9 o'clock in the morning. So I don't play it every day, but because we were talking yesterday about our favorite theme songs, I thought, wow, I always liked this one. And so because it's an all request Friday here on the show, you get the chance to make your request of a song that you'd like to hear a little bit of, and maybe, just maybe, you want to make that song a television show theme song. I picked mine. You can pick yours when you participate in All Request Friday here on the show. 519-570-2545, star 570, and 1-800-570-5715. You can also drop me an email anytime, mike@570news.com, and we'll get a little bit of that song played for you at some point today. It doesn't have to be a TV theme song, but if you want to play along with that, you are more than welcome to do so. Good Friday morning to you, this May the 23rd. I see it now, just a wee bit of it, a sliver. Oh, wait, it's starting to fade. That sliver of light on the studio wall here. I've got my window shades opened as wide as possible, and yet I'm not getting much in the way of sun. Earlier this morning, I actually ran into the booth where Christine Clark and Mark Douglas read the morning news. And I was so excited because there was a big ball of something in the sky. It was bright. It was beautiful. And then it went away. On a scale of 1 to worst May day ever, how did yesterday's weather rank for you? I got Lake Farwell reappearing in the backyard. We are drenched. We are oversaturated. And it's just, I'm sorry, but you got to call it what it is, right? Utterly miserable. Don't worry about it. We are going to improve the tone of your day in less than 3 hours. Less than 3 hours, we are going to award somebody $1,000 from TLC Pet Food. $1,000 in your pocket. Our final early bird draw in the Farwell for Hire 50-50. So you know that I'm going to be watching the jackpot all day. And yesterday, when I left this studio, the jackpot was just over $90,500, or a take-home prize of just over $45,200. That was yesterday when I left. I'm going to hit refresh right now. From 90,520, the jackpot is now $94,735. So the take-home prize worth more than $47,000. That's a pretty good jackpot. It's up 4,000 since the time I left this studio yesterday, about 20 hours ago. Let's see how much that jackpot can move before noon. Because if you win the early bird, you are still in for the overall jackpot. So get your tickets right now at cf5050.ca, cf5050.ca. You'll be in for the $1,000 early bird prize if you buy before noon today, and you'll be in for that big jackpot of now almost $95,000. And listen, when you buy a 50-50 ticket in the Farwell for Hire raffle, you're supporting cystic fibrosis research. And it's a lot easier for me to raise money that way than going out and cleaning windows like I did yesterday afternoon. I know what they say. You got to clean some windows if you want to fight cystic fibrosis, right? No pain, no gain. You see what I... Pain, P-A-N-E, because I was washing windows. Anyway, I'll keep washing the windows, but you can buy your tickets too. cf5050.ca.
It's the final countdown.
All right, we're going to count them up, though, on this Farwell Show 5 for your Friday morning. Number 1, Canada Post's union has called for a countrywide halt to overtime as the midnight deadline passes with no deal. The union, representing about 55,000 postal workers, announced late last night that members are being told to refuse any work beyond 8 hours in a day and 40 hours in a week. The company offered new proposals earlier this week, but the union has said the offers, quote, fall short on wages, cost of living adjustments, and other areas. The wage increase, as reportedly offered, was 13.59% over 4 years. Number 2, an inspiring night at Bingaman's as our region's best and brightest women were recognized for their contributions to our community. The annual KW Oktoberfest Rogers Women of the Year event recognized 140 female nominees in 12 categories. Joan Fisk won the Lifetime Achievement Award. Number 3 on your Farwell Show 5 this morning, cat lovers unite. The Golden Triangle Cat Fanciers are hosting a cat show tomorrow at the Galt Arena. Show runs from 10 until 4, features dozens of vendors who celebrate and promote responsible and engaged cat ownership. Number 4, the first ever Nourish Our Neighbors in support of the Guelph Food Bank. It runs this weekend at the downtown Guelph Mall. The event features a silent auction, live music, a fashion show on Saturday, and plenty of family activities. You're also encouraged to bring a non-perishable food item. Nourish Our Neighbors in support of the Guelph Food Bank happens at the Old Quebec Street Shops tomorrow from 10 until 5 and Sunday from noon until 5. And number 5 on your Farwell Show 5 this morning, the Guelph Concert Band presents Echoes of Change this Sunday, an annual concert centered around promoting diversity and inclusion through music. This year's theme will be Women in Winds and will feature music composed entirely by women. The concert happens Sunday afternoon at 3 at Harcourt United Church and will be in support of Women in Crisis Guelph. And that is your Farwell Show 5 for this Friday morning, the 23rd of May. I'm just thinking about that call by the union representing Canada Post employees saying, do not work 1 minute beyond your scheduled 8 hours in a day or 40 hours in a week. Can we get our federal parliamentarians to do that? I mean, forget the not working overtime. How about, can you sit down in the House of Commons for a minute or two? I thought there was a crisis happening in this country. Far be it from me to pick a nit, but I've got one to pick with the calendar of work for our federal parliamentarians. I'll talk more about it coming up on the Mike Farwell Show. This is 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. Do you remember when George from Seinfeld used a parody version of that on his answering machine? Believe it or not, George isn't at home. That's Joey Scarberry, by the way. Believe it or not, the theme song to the greatest American hero. By request for Ron on this All Request Friday here on the program. If you want to hear a little bit of a song that is of interest to you today, let us know. Call or email Mike at 570news.com. And if it's a TV show theme song, all the better, because that's how we're going to do things today, reliving some of our favorite theme songs. Or if you want to go and do your own thing, you can do that too. You're allowed to do your own thing on this show. I started with the original theme song for this show, and my buddy Mike sends an email to Mike at 570news.com, says that's the way the show should start every day, with a little bit of Working Man. And Bruce is quick to correct via email. He says, Mike, Working Man is great, but you being considered the working man may be a stretch. Now, if it was a structural steel rigger, it would be okay. Bruce, your point is well taken, sir. I have not worked a day in my adult life, at least since I started in this business, which, oh my gosh, if I look at the calendar, will be 30 years ago next month. How the heck did that happen? But I didn't want to work for a living, so here I am. Speaking of that, work, and look, David Drew, when he comes into the studio weekly for Drew's Views, Monday mornings, 11:30, he's got a great perspective on things, mostly political, former Conservative Party staffer, so he knows a thing or two about how things operate, the inner workings of government. But I'm looking right now, because remember, our parliament remains prorogued, right? We have not had a sitting day in our House of Commons yet in calendar 2025. Let that sink in. We will finally get back on Monday, and we'll stay in session in Ottawa for 4 weeks. 4 weeks, 20 sitting days. And then, as of June the 20th, that will be the last day before the summer break, and the summer break extends until September the 15th. All told, there are 73 sitting days on the calendar this year in our federal House of Commons. Now, when David was here earlier this week, we talked about this, and he made the absolutely fair point, and one that should be recognized. Even when it's quote-unquote summer break in Ottawa, our MPs are back home in their constituency offices, in their ridings. They're on the summer barbecue circuit, if you will. They're putting in time. They're in the community. I'm not denying that. It is a job that takes a lot of hours, and they're not 9 to 5 Monday to Friday hours. I recognize that 100%, and I hope you can recognize it along with me. But 73 days sitting in calendar 2025 at a time in which we are told there are crises all over the place. The trade war with the United States, the crisis in housing, the crisis in affordability. I mean, could you make it look like you're taking this seriously, like there's some sort of sense of urgency? I might be picking a bit of a nit here, but I'm sorry. 73 days out of the year doesn't strike me as meeting the moment with urgency. Just give me a little more than that, please. We're putting pretty good money into your pocket as an MP. This is almost senatorial is what we're getting at here. 73 days in a year to be sitting. This is the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV.
Come and listen to my story about a man named Jed. A poor mountaineer barely kept his family fed. And then one day he was shooting at some food, and up through the ground come a bubbling crude oil, that is, black gold, Texas tea. Well, the first thing you know, old Jed's a millionaire. The kinfolk said, Jed, move away from there. Said, California is the place you ought to be. So they loaded up the truck and they moved to Beverly Hills, that is, swimming pools, movie stars.
The Beverly Hillbillies.
Our young lady on the other side of the glass today, Jen, who is our board operator, taking your requests and playing them, simply said, this is old. Yes, Jen, Yes, it is. The Beverly Hillbillies by request from both Mike and Suzanne this morning on this All Request Friday. Don't worry, Mike. Don't worry, Suzanne. We can request old songs. Most of them will be old to Jen anyway because she's not like us. And that's okay. All are welcome here on the show. And let's see how we can impact the ears and pop culture knowledge of our good friend Jen Tan, who is our board operator on the show today. Your requests for your favorite TV theme songs on this All Request Friday. Let's get to the phones, hear from you this morning. Zafari is with us. Good morning, Zafari.
Good morning, Mike.
Uh-oh. Where'd you go? Hello, Zafari.
Good morning, Mike. How are you?
I'm fine.
Good morning. I just listened this morning to the radio. They say they call Mike Farwell if you want to say something, right?
Always.
I'm going to be out of topic. That's why I call you.
Anytime you want to call me, Zafari, you call me.
Yes. Thank you, Mike. So, Mike, I had something to send to deliver it to Toronto. I received from Toronto guys, and he sent me. He said, through Post Canada, it's supposed to be in my store within 2 days. But I waited 4 days, and he sent it express. Then there was some defect, and I sent it back to that guy. He's a nice guy. I know him. And then I went to the Highland, post office, and I told the guy, I said, can you send me express? He said, yes. I repeated 3 times. I said, I want it as soon as possible. I don't care. Charge me. I will receive it tomorrow. The guy didn't receive it. So what are we supposed to do in this case? You know what I mean? They charge me express. I pay for it. And it's not first time it's happening. Like, what is wrong? I don't know. What's going on?
Zafari, it's a great question. And I wish I had the time to give you an easy answer to it. But Canada Post is struggling, to say the very least. And it will be a topic of conversation with our Friday 4 roundtable today between 11 and noon. And maybe we can solve Canada Post's problems today during Free Phones Friday, noon to 1. We'll see. But I feel for you, brother. I think we've all been there waiting for the Canada Post package that did not arrive. This is the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio.
Now's the time for a great deal on a new Honda. Check out the Honda Prologue, Accord Hybrid, or Civic Hybrid. For a limited time, well-qualified buyers can get a 0.99% APR on a 2025 Prologue, a 2.99% APR on a 2025 Accord Hybrid, or a 4.99% APR on a 2025 Civic Hybrid.
See dealer for financing details. Exclude Civic SI and Type R.
Our day began yesterday with news that the U.S. administration would like to create a Golden Dome defense system that would protect North America from long-range missiles, including from outer space. And yes, U.S. President Donald Trump said Canada would like to be a part of it. Scott Clancy is a retired Major General and former Director of Operations for NORAD, joins the show to talk about it. Scott, thank you very much for the time. Good morning.
Morning, Mike. How are you?
I'm doing all right, thank you. How are you?
I'm good.
Glad to hear it. What role could Canada play in such a defense system as the Golden Dome?
Well, I think Canada would play an awesome role. Start with an equal role. Canada is an equal partner in the binational agreement NORAD, so the North American Aerospace Defense Command. And as such, between geography and our military commitments, we share equally the defense of the continent. So in my mind, the role that Canada would be playing is as an equal partner to try and protect Canada as much as the United States.
I'm glad, Scott, you brought up NORAD, because that was one of the questions that came up on our show yesterday as we began to learn about this idea. So would such a Golden Dome replace NORAD? Does it enhance NORAD? What does that part look like?
Yeah, so I think it's a great question. I think that the Golden Dome is part of the ongoing NORAD modernization that has been underway for decades. As a matter of fact, the specific elements that would be required, even at the beginning of developing the Golden Dome capabilities, are things that me and my team were exploring back in 2020 and 2021 to be able to enhance NORAD's role in defeating those threats that were already presenting themselves, 5 years ago.
You talk about those threats presenting themselves 5 years ago, and it seems to me, just from my comfortable studio here in Kitchener, but these threats are that much more threatening today. They are that much more real today. Is it fair to say that such a defense system is a worthwhile conversation?
So, yes, it absolutely is. And I think that the Canadian citizen perspective on safety and security needs to be a little bit better informed. When I speak to Canadians, they become very surprised at the amount of Russian and Chinese military activity right on our periphery. Russian bombers approach and do missile tests right on the edge of Canadian airspace routinely. Their submarines approach right to our coastlines, and then we watch them do missile tests up and down the Canadian and American coastlines. And the Chinese have participated in air approaches with their bombers to Canadian airspace for the first time this past year in history. Not to mention Chinese vessels, both military and civilian, penetrating into the Arctic and the Arctic archipelago, trying to undermine Canadian sovereignty. So the threats are absolutely real, and more than ever, and we've been watching this for decades evolve in terms of the complexity and the types of aircraft systems and missile systems that they're developing specifically to undermine North American defense.
The price tag that was placed upon this from the U.S. administration was $175 billion, some already saying that might be on the low side. How could Canada possibly be a part of this financially, Scott?
So, these are the tough questions that Prime Minister Carney needs to answer to the Canadian public, and it's a great point. I believe that number is woefully underestimated. I also believe that the timeline that President Trump stated, which was end of 2029, it is nowhere near the amount of time that's going to be required to develop a full capability. I think he stated it for political reasons because that's the end of his term. Now, we in NORAD, way back 5 years ago, knew that we could develop initial defensive capabilities that would begin, a dome-like protection of North American high-value assets very, very quickly. Within a couple of years, you can develop those kinds of systems. But the financial piece is the crux here. And this is the reason why, I actually applaud Prime Minister Carney saying we're not going to rush to develop a budget very quickly as Parliament rises because of the defense concerns, and it was primarily the defense concerns that caused him to want to push the budget off into the fall. He's going to have to answer some really tough questions. And by the way, I think that part of this is going to be about the conference of NATO leaders that's going to be held here in the spring, where we're going to see, Canada doesn't even meet 2% of the GDP goal that we said that we were going to meet. All of the political parties in the election said, hey, we'll meet that goal. I think that goal is going to shift, and you're going to see all of the NATO partners say somewhere between 3.5 and 5% GDP are the real new goals with respect to defense and security. And that's going to cause some real pressure on the Canadian budget.
No question about it. Great to get your perspective on this today, Scott. Thank you very much for making time for the show.
You have a wonderful day, Mike.
You as well, sir. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Scott Clancy is a retired Major General and former Director of Operations for NORAD. Answers one of the big questions that we had yesterday. What becomes of NORAD? Should this Golden Dome ever end up being completed? And really what it becomes is an enhancement of NORAD's capabilities, something that, as Scott points out in this conversation, had already been identified as a need given the threats that he was seeing even 5 years ago in his role at NORAD. The big question will, of course, be around the budget. And Scott alluded to that with our inability to date to even maintain our 2% commitment to NATO. And we could talk about how underfunded our military is, period, and how outdated the equipment is that our military personnel are using. So how do you justify a major expense such as this, $175 billion woefully underestimated, according to Scott Clancy? How can Canada possibly participate in that financially when there are so many other issues around our federal finances? Now that you're here a little bit more, in particular with how imminent these threats really are while we sleep comfortably at night, does it change any of your perspective on the Golden Dome? What do you think of the idea of such a defense system, and particularly Canada's participation in it? 519-570-2545, star 570, and 1-800-570-5715. Let's hear your thoughts on the Golden Dome here on the Mike Farwell Show. This is 570 News Radio and Rogers TV.
I think that the Golden Dome is part of the ongoing NORAD modernization that has been underway for a decade. As a matter of fact, the specific elements that would be required even at the beginning of developing the Golden Dome capabilities are things that me and my team were exploring back in 2020 and 2021 to be able to enhance NORAD's role in defeating those threats that were already presenting themselves, 5 years ago.
And those threats, of course, loom ever larger today. That's retired Major General Scott Clancy, former Director of Operations for NORAD, and clearly answers one of the questions we had when we first began hearing yesterday about this idea of a Golden Dome defense system against long-range missiles, including those from space. What becomes of NORAD? Well, this is just the modernization of the defense system that we already have. Of course, there are other questions. One of them being, why is Canada considering even being so cozy with the United States when we're kind of, sort of in a war of a different kind with them, right? Not as friendly a neighbor as they used to be, thanks to all of the tariff and counter-tariff conversations that are happening. And of course, how would Canada even entertain the idea of making this financially viable? $175 billion is the estimated price tag already, but some say that is a woefully low estimate. Of course, it wouldn't all be on the back of Canada, but if Canada is to be a fulsome partner in this, like the retired Major General believes we should be, then where do we come up with money like that? 519-570-2545, star 570, and 1-800-570-5715. Jersey Bill, good morning.
Yes, I just have to say that, perhaps this is something that should occur. I mean, of course, we're not being threatened to the extent that we were during the days of the Soviet Union, and even when Communist China was an active enemy of ours. So do you think those threats that the retired Major General just talked about are overstated? No, they're there, but they're there in a more commercial sense, right? Why does Russia and China want to get into the Arctic? Because they want whatever minerals are there, however they want to use the trade routes. That's what they want to use it for. So they're not interested in blowing North America to pieces. It wouldn't be in their interest anyway. But if we're going to and of course, we also have to deal with the whole issue now of rogue nations and terrorist groups that might get a hand on one of these type of weapons. But that's sort of a remote possibility. But the main thing is, for all of Joe Biden's weaknesses, at least what he did, he was a normal politician who worked through normal defense and State Department channels to do these kind of things. And he never touched all of those overseers, the inspector generals, which Trump has gotten rid of entirely. So, of course, yes, are there going to be cost overruns? There are always cost overruns, but with no inspector generals or with only inspector generals who are just going to look the other way, it's all going to be outsourced to private corporations, and this would just be another way for Trump to make billions and billions of dollars. So, yes, should something like this be invested in? Of course, for our safety and security. And of course, NORAD does exist, and, we should continue to have cooperation for the air defense of North America. But Trump is going to benefit from this, I'm sure, personally or people around him. And, I just see this thing as a real boondoggle. They really have to take a hard look at it. And hopefully in the next administration, if something like this is ongoing, they're going to have inspector generals who are going to make sure that the money is not being wasted and siphoned off to their friends and relatives.
Billy, I appreciate the call. Boy, oh boy, money being siphoned off. I mean, what was it? $80,000 for a Arrive can that turned into $60 million here in Canada. So we should be watching the public purse here too, because if we're entering into something in the billions of dollars, how might things get misappropriated there? Not surprisingly, Prime Minister Carney was asked about this during a media conference yesterday.
We take those threats seriously. We take our responsibilities as a government seriously, as I just said. It's one of the reasons why we made the commitment back in March for the over-the-horizon radar, the first phase of the over-horizon radar system, and that was an independent decision that we took. We are conscious that we have an ability, if we so choose, to complete the Golden Dome with investments and partnership. And it's something that we are looking at and something that has been discussed at a high level, but I'm not sure one negotiates on this. These are military decisions that are then taken in that context. And we will evaluate it accordingly. We had, for almost half a century, we as Canada, a relationship with the Americans, which were a steady process of deepening integration. Deepening integration in economics. We went from free trade deal through to CUSMA, deepening integration in military aspects. And that process of deepening integration is over. We are in a position now where we cooperate when necessary, but not necessarily cooperate. So we have other options for that cooperation. We are pursuing those other options. You will see a very different set of partnerships, security and economic, going forward. But to be absolutely clear, when it is in Canada's interest, first best interest, to cooperate with the Americans, to strike deals with the Americans, relationships, and particularly in examples like ballistic missile defense, that may be the best option. And if so, we will pursue that.
Prime Minister Mark Carney on Canada's role in the Golden Dome defense system. This is the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV.
Just sit right back and you'll hear a tale of a fateful trip that started from this tropic point aboard this tiny ship. The mate was a mighty sailor man, the skipper brave and sure. 5 passengers set sail that day for a 3-hour tour, a 3-hour tour. The weather started getting rough, the tiny ship was tossed. If not for the courage of the fearless crew, the minnow would be lost. The minnow would be lost.
How many times did they try to escape Gilligan's Island? I mean, that 3-hour tour turned into, how many years was it on the air anyway? We are playing your favorite TV theme show songs by request on this All Request Friday here on the program. And Drew wanted to hear that one. It was Gilligan's Island, of course. If you want to get your requests in, poor Jen, our board operator today on the other side of the glass, is feeling overwhelmed. So you just keep overwhelming her. She's got to earn her pay on a Friday. Send us your requests. And if they are of a TV theme song, even better. I love hanging out with you every day here on the show. It's great to have you involved in the conversation and participating with your requests and your emails and all of those wonderful things. I wonder if you want to hang out a little bit on the weekend too, because I would love to see you. The weather's getting better. We're still waiting for the sun, but the rain is slowly moving away. And that's going to make it a great day tomorrow for our Farwell for Hire car wash in support of cystic fibrosis research and in partnership with the Kitchener Fire Department. Please come on by Kitchener Fire Headquarters on Strasbourg Road, near Strasbourg and Ottawa, tomorrow, 12:30 until 3. And we're going to wash your car for you. All you have to do is make a donation to Farwell for Hire. Pretty easy. Pull up to Fire Headquarters, 12:30 until 3. We'll wash your car. And then on Sunday, from noon until 3, at the Lab Street Eats on Victoria Street South in downtown Kitchener. Victoria and Oak is the intersection. Pop by there for our barbecue. You'll get some pulled pork or some brisket Sammys. Unreal food from the Lab Street Eats. Sunday from noon until 3, and all proceeds will support Farwell for Hire and cystic fibrosis research. So a car wash tomorrow, 12:30 until 3. A barbecue on Sunday, 12 until 3. I'll be there. Come on by. We'll hang out for the rest of the show today. We'll hang out on our weekend together as well and raise some money for Farwell for Hire and cystic fibrosis research. Going to get you an update from the 570 News Center. And then Bill 5, our species in danger here in Ontario as we try to plow through with more development. We'll talk about it coming up on the Mike Farwell Show. 570 News Radio. You may have heard some talk about Bill 5 in Ontario. Oh, legislation, numbers, fancy names. Bill 5, by way of background for you, is proposed legislation here in Ontario that will, quote, protect Ontario by unleashing our economy. It will have impacts, though, on natural habitats and ecosystems in this province. And here to talk more about it is Quinn Weber, who's an assistant professor in the Department of Integrative Biology at the University of Guelph. Quinn, good morning.
Good morning. How are you, Mike?
I'm doing all right, thank you. How are you?
Oh, I'm good. Thanks for asking.
I'm glad to hear it. Tell me more, please, about Bill 5. What will this attempt to protect Ontario and unleash the economy do?
Well, from an economic perspective, I think it allows developers to, generate revenue and develop economic projects. From a sort of natural resources and wildlife perspective, it has some pretty major consequences for species at risk in our province. So that's kind of what my interest in this bill is.
So what might those risks to wildlife be, Quinn?
Yeah, so there's kind of three big ones. The first one is that the government will be able to decide which species are actually listed as endangered or threatened. Currently, there's an independent body that's independent from government that does this, and so they take the best available science and make a recommendation about a species. The second thing is that there will be a change in the definition of habitat, and the definition will be narrowed. So it will only include areas that a species lives during their breeding time or their hibernation period, if they hibernate, but it ignores everywhere that they might go for the rest of their life or the rest of the year. And then the last one is that the bill allows government to declare a special economic zone in a given area. And under the proposed bill, they would be able to do this at any time. And within that special economic zone, they would basically allow developers to operate without following existing legislation or laws. And so that includes species at risk laws, but it also includes health and safety and other municipal laws in that area. So these are some pretty major things that could be happening if this bill goes ahead.
Okay, so I'm going to be deliberately cold and calculating here and look at this strictly through the economic lens, Quinn, because we know there's a housing crisis. We need to build homes. We need to build them as quickly as we possibly can. So why should we care about these natural habitats that might be disrupted?
Yeah, it's a really good point, and I think that's what makes this so controversial. So both from a housing perspective, but also from the perspective of mining and electric vehicles, there's a lot of precious minerals that are required to have batteries for these cars, and Ontario has a lot of them. So these are sort of the major types of development that we're talking about here. And I think the current endangered species legislation allows these projects to go ahead. There's forestry and mining happening in the province, of course. But there's just rules about how we proceed and when certain things can happen. So when forestry activity can happen and the area within which it can happen, as well as mining, when these things can happen and how much, et cetera. And the rules that are in place are certainly not perfect, but they are rules. And I think there's sort of a responsible way to do natural resource extraction. And I think this bill sort of takes out the rules and it takes out what I would consider to be the responsible side of it. And it takes away our ability to just have checks and balances on what's going on. And it essentially allows developers to operate with more or less impunity within a proposed special economic zone.
Is there any possibility of compromise here, Quinn? You said the existing rules, while not perfect, are serving us pretty well. But is there a way then to massage, any kind of middle ground here between, again, that need to build as many homes as we can, as quickly as we can, while preserving these important habitats?
I mean, I would hope so. I think compromise is really important, but I think when policies become so politicized and it's a real us versus them mentality, in all policies it becomes very hard to compromise. So I hope that there is room to compromise and to come to an understanding on ways to ensure that endangered species are protected and that their habitats are protected beyond just their breeding site, and that we're also still able to, proceed to continue to build houses and those sorts of things as well. What the actual answer to that question is and, how we do it is, I think that's above my pay grade for sure, but I certainly would advocate for compromise if possible.
Let's take worst case scenario here, Quinn, and let's say that this bill, as it's written today, moves through the provincial legislature. Is there any way to put the genie back in the bottle? If we start down this road, can we, at a later point, reverse course?
That is the golden question. I think the answer is no. I think there are certain species in certain areas that are maybe robust to some development that might happen. But then there are other species in Ontario that are on the brink of extinction already. So some that come to mind are there's a salamander species called the Jefferson salamander that lives sort of in the Greenbelt area around the GTA. And this species only has a small number of populations left. And so, for example, if further development of the Greenbelt happened, it could be the end for this species. Similarly, there's a small fish that lives in a number of streams around the GTA, the red-sided dace, and this species as well, if development were to continue to occur in some of these areas and developers were allowed to develop on or near these streams, it could be the end for that species as well. So I think that in the coming years, if this bill goes ahead, we're likely going to see extinction of some species in Ontario for sure.
Quinn, really appreciate your time on the show this morning and the perspective on Bill 5. Thanks very much for being here.
Okay, thanks, Mike.
Quinn Weber is an assistant professor in the Department of Integrative Biology at the University of Guelph. Joins us to talk about Bill 5, what it means for the species and ecosystems around us. I don't know about you, but I find this stuff fascinating. Look, it's easy to say, go hug another tree in a different part of Ontario or a different part of Canada, whatever the case may be, right? We can't let the environmentalists get in the way of our progress and development. But what happens when a species that may already be endangered becomes extinct? Just in terms of the overall impact on planet Earth, right? Because the more we creep forward and the more habitats or species that we lose along the way, it has fundamental change on the planet. Are we going to see it in our lifetime, that change, the effects of that change? Of course not. But longer term, is this another one of those itty-bitty steps forward. And you can't put the genie back in the bottle, right? If something becomes extinct, then it's just that. It is gone forever. So anyway, I find it incredibly interesting. And the pushback is underway against Bill 5. What do you think? Do we just move forward and make it as easy as possible to develop? Because, hey, the humans need the houses. Damn be the fishes. Would love to hear your thoughts on the Mike Farwell Show. This is 570 News Radio and Rogers TV.
The rules that are in place are certainly not perfect, but they are rules. And I think there's sort of a responsible way to do natural resource extraction. And I think this bill sort of takes out the rules and it takes out what I would consider to be the responsible side of it. And it takes away our ability to just have checks and balances going on. And it essentially allows developers to operate with more or less impunity with a proposed special economic zone.
That is Quinn Weber, assistant professor in the Department of Integrative Biology at the University of Guelph. What does the Ontario government's proposed Bill 5 mean for the species and the ecosystems around us? And obviously, folks like Quinn are expressing their concern. As I said before the break, I find it fascinating. I know, too, I'll go back to, and this is probably an incomplete analogy, but I remember two things vividly. One is the grandfather of a friend of mine when I was growing up, and he talked about having moved into his house in the neighborhood where I grew up and went to elementary school, and he used to be able to look out his front window, and there was nothing but field across the street. Now, that blew my mind as a young lad because outside his window was the house across the street and then the main street. No, there was another block before the main street where my elementary school was, et cetera, et cetera. Like everything has been built where other habitat or other life, be it vegetation or otherwise, used to exist. That's one thing that always comes to mind. And then the more incomplete analogy is from a buddy of mine who moved into a new neighborhood in Kitchener some years ago and complained about the deer that were always eating from his garden in the backyard. And I'm like, dude, well, where do you think those deer were living before this new housing development was built, right? We do some clear cutting and we push the wildlife into other areas, or we build nearer and nearer their natural habitat. So anyway, all of it to me is incredibly interesting, and we won't see the full impact for decades to come. Right? I am unlikely to see the full impact of Bill 5 if it moves through as it is proposed today. I'm very unlikely to see the full impact of that in my lifetime. But along with Quinn Weber from the University of Guelph, the Wellington Water Watchers are also on the case, if you will, to stop Bill 5. And this is the sort of thing I can get behind insofar as taking action and directing it where it's going to have the most impact. Wellington Water Watchers is directing this initiative to the provincial government. Take your case to Queen's Park. And that's what Wellington Water Watchers will do with a phone zap next week, which is a collective action where members of Wellington Water Watchers and their supporters gather together, make phone calls, and send emails to inundate the decision makers with their stance on a particular issue. So brace yourself, MPPs here in Ontario. Next Wednesday between noon and 1, you will be getting phone calls from Wellington Water Watchers and their supporters to let you know what they think of Bill 5. There is also a rally planned at Queen's Park next Wednesday, and there will be another rally in Guelph tomorrow from 1:30 until 2:30 at the covered bridge by the boathouse in Guelph. And I know that Guelph MPP and Ontario Green Party leader Mike Schreiner will be in attendance at that as well. So watch for those protests, rallies, and the phone zap. If you're an MPP listening right now, your phone will be buzzing next Wednesday between noon and 1 as Wellington Water Watchers pleads its case against Bill 5 to where it ought to be pled, right at the doorstep of the provincial government. This is the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV.
Thank you for being a friend. Travel down a road and back again. Your heart is true, you're a pal and a confidant. I'm not ashamed to say, I hope it always will stay this way. My hat is off, won't you stand up and take a bow?
Do I love this little trip down memory lane on an all-request Friday here on the show where you are requesting your favorite TV show theme songs. I think I might start adding another element to this and asking Jen on the other side of the glass if she recognizes the song and or the TV show it came from. What do you think, Jen? Can you name the TV show that song came from? I'm really putting you on the spot. I know. What do you think? Do you know? Did you look it up? Don't cheat. No Googling.
I did look it up.
So you didn't know beforehand?
I didn't know beforehand for sure.
So you've never seen The Golden Girls?
I've seen it once, like on YouTube.
On YouTube.
And that's it.
Okay. That's fine. It's okay.
Forgivable, right?
Absolutely forgivable. But your homework for this weekend is go to binge watch The Golden Girls, okay?
No way.
That is by request from D. Of course, it's Andrew Gold. Thank you for being a friend. The theme song from The Golden Girls. Thanks for the request. Keep them coming on the show. We'll play a little bit of your favorite TV show theme. There is there's a fun little thing going on here at the radio station because I'm getting it with both barrels from the team here at 570 News Radio. You see, our Farwell for Hire 50-50 jackpot it's moving day in the jackpot. This thing is flying. It's up almost $6,000 since I left yesterday at 1. Jackpot now just a shade under $96,000. Take-home prize just a shade under $48,000. It's moving day because there is a $1,000 cash early bird prize from TLC Pet Food being awarded today at noon. You can win the $1,000 and you're still in for the big jackpot. But here's what's going on at the radio station. Me and my big mouth, I swear I get myself in so much trouble. But I said, and I'm a man of my word, I said that if the jackpot reaches 100,000, take-home prize 50,000, I will wear a hat of the team that shall not be named. I'll wear it for the full Talkback Hour on the show. And what's going on at the radio station right now is the needling from my quote-unquote friends, my co-workers, who are saying, he's going to have to wear the hat today. Look, the hat is in the building, okay? It's actually sitting right beside me. I have not taken it out of the bag. I refuse to look at it. But it's there. The hat of the team that shall not be named. And what my co-workers / air quote friends are wondering is, will Farwell have to put on the hat today? The jackpot is moving. I've been refreshing the screen all day. And if you buy a ticket at cf5050.ca, you're not only supporting cystic fibrosis research, you're not only getting a chance to win $1,000 today from TLC Pet Food and a chance at that big jackpot, but you're increasing the chances that I wear, oh my gosh, me and my big mouth, I wear the hat of the team that shall not be named. I'll watch the jackpot the minute it hits 100,000. It's all but inevitable now. The question is when. I'll put on that ding-dang hat. I'm an idiot. This is the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio.
Welcome back. ticket out. Welcome back to that same old place that you laughed about. Well, the names have all changed since you hung around, but those dreams have remained and they've turned around. Who'd have thought they'd lead ya? Who'd have thought they'd lead ya? Back here where we need ya. Back here where we need ya. Yeah, we tease him a lot, 'cause we got him on the spot. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back.
Well, everybody knows that one.
Welcome back.
The song title is almost the entire name of the show title. Welcome back, John Sebastian from the TV show Welcome Back, Kotter. It's an all-request Friday here on the program. And Friday mornings at this time, it is Waterloo Region Sports and Entertainment Weekly, our WRSE Weekly. And we welcome back Shanif Hirani, who's the general manager of the Kitchener Panthers, to the show. Shanif, good morning.
Morning, Mike.
It had to happen. It will happen again throughout the course of the season. Sometimes bad weather prevents us from playing baseball. Just curious, and it seemed inevitable yesterday after all of the rain that we have been getting. What goes into the decision to have to postpone a baseball game?
So there's a few things. First thing is who we're playing against. Yesterday's game was against Brantford, so we're able to push that time a little bit longer to see if we can get the game in, as opposed to if we were playing a team from a little bit far away. But as you know, it's been pretty heavy rainfall all week, so the field was unfortunately unplayable. So looking to reschedule that game.
You guys certainly know how to put on a home opener, Shanif. 5 home runs, 11 strikeouts from your starting pitcher, and a win over the Chatham-Kent Barnstormers. That was a great day at Jack Couch on Sunday.
It was. We couldn't have asked for a better day. Our guys are starting to find their identity as a team, and our coaching staff's doing a great job of leading them in that direction. We got down early. We're down 6-1 early in the game. No one gave up. They kept chipping away, and we were able to pull it out in the end.
It was a home-and-home, Chatham-Kent winning their end of it on Friday before the home opener on Sunday that you guys were able to win. But all those home runs, Shanif, is that something that's important in inter-county ball, something that we'll see from your Panthers this season, the long ball?
It is. I think it's extremely important, especially with our home field being Jack Couch. It's known as one of the more hitter-friendly parks in the league. So we tried to build our roster to take advantage of that. And if we can hit a lot of home runs, we can score a lot of runs, and that'll lead to winning a lot of games.
You tell us a little more about this Andy Vargas guy. 11 strikeouts. That is a heck of a performance as well.
It is. We're really excited about the potential Andy has. He's one of our import players that came over from Cuba. He's young still. He's only 25 years old. He just made his Cuban national team debut, actually, this past November, and we're excited for what he can do. I think the home opener was just a little bit of what he's capable of.
That's a good reminder that even at the inter-county level, this is very much an international game. How do you go about scouting and recruiting those Cuban players, Shanif?
So Mike Beamer, who is previously on the board of the Kitchener Panthers, has great relations with the Cuban Baseball Federation, and he was a huge help to me in scouting over in Cuba. But we also have people all over Canada or the United States looking for talent as well. We're not limiting ourselves to one certain area. We want to bring in the best players we can from wherever we can find them and put on a great show for our fans.
You made it a pretty great day for the fans on Sunday with the home opener, not just with the come-from-behind win and all that offense and the great pitching performance, but you were giving out T-shirts to the first 500 as well. So I think fans will recognize with the Panthers this season that they are very much valued when they come to the game.
Yeah, they're what keeps us going. We have a great fan base, a lot of passionate fans that I was able to speak to a couple at the game who've been coming to games for 30 years, 40 years. And we want to make sure that they know we're doing the best job we can to put on a great show and they can watch great baseball in their backyard.
That just makes me think of general managers and owners in other sports, Shanif, and you're there at the park meeting the fans. Are we going to see you around the ballpark quite a bit this season?
Yes. Yeah, I'll be at every game I can get to. So far, haven't missed one. For me, it's important to be there and hear what the fans have to say. If there's something that we can improve on, or if there's something that we like, then I can take that into account and we can make it better for the next time they're there.
Couple of big ones this weekend, including tomorrow in Welland, and then you're back home Sunday to take on the London Majors. What can fans expect for the Panthers this weekend?
So it's a big weekend for us. As you know, we've played Chatham a lot, so it'll be nice to be able to see another team across from us. But these are two of the better teams in the league. It's going to be a real test for us. We have a young team, but I think they're up for the challenge.
Where can folks go, Shanif, to keep up with the ball club, get tickets for a game, things like that?
So all of our updates are posted all over our social media, on Facebook, on Instagram, and we also regularly post articles on our website. And for tickets, they can be purchased either through our website, they're linked on all of our social medias, or you can purchase them at the gate on the day of the game.
Look forward to another exciting weekend of intercounty baseball, and keep up the great work, Shanif. A 2-1 start. Let's just keep it rolling with those Panthers.
Agreed. Thank you.
Thanks very much. Shanif Hirani is the general manager of the Kitchener Panthers. Rained out last night, their game against Brantford. Not too far to travel. They'll make that up at another point. The rescheduled date has not yet been announced, but on the road tomorrow in Welland. And if you're up for a trip, get your car washed first, okay? Because we're going to be doing a car wash at Kitchener Fire Headquarters on Strasbourg Road, and then drive down to Welland. The car wash is for Farwell for Hire and cystic fibrosis research, okay? It's great. Get the car washed, then take your nice clean car down to Welland. They got themselves a whale of a ballpark down there. You can watch the Panthers on the road tomorrow, and then they'll be home against London on Sunday afternoon. Catch it at KitchenerPanthers.com for tickets and information to keep up with the team. WRSE Weekly every Friday morning, 10:30 here on the Mike Farwell Show. This is 570 News Radio and Rogers TV.
Baby, if you've ever wondered whatever became of me, I'm living on the air in Cincinnati, WKRP. Got kind of tired of packing and unpacking, town to town, up and down the dial. Maybe you and me were never meant to be, just maybe think of me once in a while.
Was it the greatest TV show ever to air on network television? I mean, I might be biased, but WKRP in Cincinnati was pretty gosh darn good, wasn't it? And it's an all request Friday here on the program where you get to hear a little bit of your favorite TV show theme song. My buddy Paulie wanted to hear some WKRP because Paulie knows radio as well as anybody does. And it's great to play a little bit of that song here on the show this morning. Last night, as you've heard us talking about through the morning here on 570 News Radio, was the annual Women of the Year Awards. 140 nominees in 12 categories. I happened to run into Waterloo Fire Chief Richard Heptich at the event last night at Binghamton's, and I had seen Rich on the evening news earlier this week in a competition. It was the Lemon Twist competition. And I asked him how it went, and he admitted to me, like the fire chief in Waterloo admitted flat out that he cheated in the competition against his fellow emergency responders. It was all for fun, though. I bring it up just to tease the fire chief a little bit. And by way of introduction to the executive director of Family and Children's Services here in Waterloo Region, Jill Stoddard. Jill, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Well, I'm fine. How are you?
I'm great, thanks. Just
Good.
want to correct you quickly. I'm the executive director of the foundation.
Oh, pardon me. Thank you. Thank you for that. Were you aware of Rich Heptich cheating on Wednesday at the Lemon Twist competition?
Well, I might have seen a little collaboration happening.
Collaboration. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's call it collaboration. That's what Rich called it last night, too. And as I mentioned, Jill, this is all, of course, for a very good reason. Lemonade Day, Waterloo Region, is coming up on June the 7th. What is Lemonade Day?
Well, it is our second annual community-based fundraising event. It involves children, families, and businesses across the region. So teams set up lemonade stands. We provide everything, including the stand, the lemonade, the cups. We give you everything. And hopefully kids, as well as businesses and families, set up those stands, and then they sell lemonade as well as doing other activities to raise funds to help send local kids to summer camp. And because of our generous sponsors in this event, 100% of the funds raised will go directly to sending kids in the region to camp this summer.
That's fantastic. So why is a fundraiser like this important, Jill? Why is it important to get these kids to these summer camps?
Yeah, well, I mean, camp is fun for all kids, but for children involved in family and children's services and some of our other partners across the region, camp can be critical for kids' safety and development over the summertime. It helps keep them active and engaged while providing them opportunities to learn beyond the classroom. So it's a safe, supervised, positive environment for kids to learn and grow. And kids can learn some amazing skills like social skills and build confidence. And they also make new friends and get new networks of caring adults in their lives. So it can be really critical for many of the kids in the region to have these kind of activities over the summer.
The Lemon Twist competition on Wednesday that launched the campaign, the Lemonade Day campaign. What happened there? What was it all about?
Yeah, it was just a great way to get our message out to the community because we're still looking for about 15 booths. So our goal this year is 50 booths across the region, and we have 15 left. And we wanted to think of a fun way to let families know that we are hoping that these last 15 booths go to other families because part of the cornerstone is kids helping kids. So on the Lemon Twist, we had kids competing against each other to see who could squeeze the most lemon juice out of the lemon. So they had 1 minute. It was lots of fun, and they twisted away. And then some of our supporters that were there, the first responders, had to go at it after the kids went. So realized how tough it was.
Exactly. It's not easy. Yeah, for sure. No, and I saw some of the video. It looked like tons of fun. Jill, I love this idea because who doesn't love a lemonade stand? So
exactly.
Yeah, it was just great thinking. Second annual, June the 7th. So we'll mark that date down in our calendar. How can we find out, Jill, where the lemonade stands are going to be set up, et cetera? Is there a place we can go for information?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first of all, we're looking for 15 more stands. So if you're willing, if you've got kids or neighbors or nieces, nephews, whatever, and you want to set up a stand, contact us at www.facsfoundation.org, or to make it simple, you can just Google Lemonade Day Waterloo, and our link will pop up so you can do a stand. Or if you can't do that and you're out and about in the community on the 7th, you can visit us at one of the many stands. We've got some at the Ronas. We'll be at Carl's Arrow Square. We'll be in Kinbridge. We'll be in Hefner. We'll be at Fairview Mall. So we will have a map on our website closer to June 7th that will tell you where all the stands are across the region. And again, we hope to have 50 of them.
Fantastic. So that website again is facsfoundation.org?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, we got it. Jill, kudos on a successful launch with the Lemon Twist competition and looking forward to Lemonade Day on June the 7th. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your support, and have a great weekend.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Jill Stoddart is the Executive Director of the Family and Children's Services Foundation here in Waterloo Region, facsfoundation.org. Let's get those other 15 stands established, and then on June the 7th, we'll find 50 lemonade stands around the region, and we can buy our lemonade in support of sending kids to camp this summer. This is the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV.
Just a good old boy, never meaning no harm. Beats all you never saw, been in trouble with the law since the day they was born. Straightening the curves, flattening the hills. Someday the mountain might get them, but the law never will. Making their way the only way they know how. That's just a little bit more than the law will allow.
You know, when I was a kid,
Just a good old boy.
I didn't have any concept that the songs that I heard at the beginning of my favorite TV shows were actual songs. And Waylon Jennings was, you know, an actual country singer. And this song might even be on the radio a time or two. It was just the theme to the Dukes of Hazzard for me, of course, and for many of you as well. Brad wanted to hear that on this All Request Friday here on the program. If you want to hear a little bit of one of your favorite TV theme show songs, that's what we're doing. Theme songs, TV show theme songs. It's a lot to put in the right order there for me. But that's what we're playing on our All Request Friday today, so let us know. It is also moving day in the Farwell for Hire 50/50 jackpot. There is a $1,000 cash early bird prize being awarded in just over 1 hour from now. If you get your tickets before noon today, you are eligible for that $1,000 cash prize, and you will also be eligible for the overall jackpot, which is approaching $97,000. Are you kidding me? $48,500. We're getting close to that as a take-home prize. Get your tickets at cf5050.ca. Help us raise some money for cystic fibrosis research and maybe, just maybe, put some money in your pocket. cf5050.ca. Fridays also mean our Friday 4 Roundtable, a chance to invite some guests to the show and discuss the week's big stories, including the Golden Dome and what the heck are we going to do with Canada Post. Our Friday 4 Roundtable begins after this update from the 570 News Center. This is the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio. Each and every Friday from 11 until noon, we are granted the opportunity for a recap of the week's big stories, a discussion about them with our guests on our roundtable. It's called the Friday 4 because there are 3 guests and yours truly as host. That makes 4 of us. And joining us around the virtual table today, Linda Ockwell-Jenner, the president of motivationalsteps.com and a Women of the Year Award nominee in community service. Linda, it was lovely to see you last night. Congratulations on your nomination.
Thank you. So you've forgiven me then?
I'm working on it. I slept it off, yeah.
It's a beautiful photo of me and Jen. Angie Hill says hi. I spoke to her just now. She'd say hi to you.
Well, hello back to Hill. I didn't even see her last night. We were in the same room. We couldn't find each other.
I found her. She was wearing an orange dress. I looked everywhere for her and I found her.
Good
Thank
job.
you, Mike.
And congratulations again, Linda.
Thank you.
David Kuhn is with us, the former board chair at KW Accessibility. David, I feel like we've missed each other for a little while here on the show, so good to have you.
Good to be here. I think I had a scheduling conflict last time I was invited, but thanks for having me back, and it's always good to be here with you folks.
It's always good to have you and your perspective as well. And Steve Bentley is with us, managing principal at Northern River Financial. Bentley, good morning.
How you doing, Farwell?
I'm doing just great, my friend, just great.
You getting much sleep lately?
No. And I'm starting to get even more nervous, and I'll lose more sleep because the 50/50 jackpot's getting close to $100,000. And when it gets there, I promised I would wear a really ugly hat. And I don't want to wear the hat, Steve, but I think I'm pooched.
Well, as long as you guarantee me the early bird today, I'm okay. And again, quick shout out to Linda. Congratulations on the nomination for Woman of the Year. It was well due.
Thank you, Steve.
All right, let's dive into our conversations today. The first of which will be around the idea of a Golden Dome defense system here in North America that Canada would, of course, be a partner in. Linda, what say you? What do you think of this idea of the Golden Dome defense system?
Well, if we don't join America, if we don't join Trump, we'll be they'll come straight to us, and that'll be the end of Canada. Evidently, this should have happened many years ago. So if we want to be in, and we want to be fully in, evidently, we've got to make a decision soon, because I love Canada. I'm a citizen of Canada. I love it. I really, really do. But we do take a long time to make decisions. I'm wondering where all the money's going to come from, billions and billions of dollars. But to be honest, the way that the different wars and things that are going on around the world, if we can be safe. Now, do we trust Trump, the president, to actually do what he says he's going to do and let us be partners? Will he change his mind next week and say, no, you can't be in it? So I guess a couple of problems I've got is, do we have enough money? Can we make our mind up quickly so we're not, being shot off the earth, whatever, or blown up? And will Trump change his mind? I hope not, because it's important.
I don't think he'll change his mind on this one. Whether or not this can be completed by 2029 when Trump leaves office is perhaps a different story. If he leaves office in 2029, but I'll just leave that there. David Kuhn, thoughts on the Golden Dome?
Lots of ifs with Trump. But okay, so the Golden Dome, isn't this kind of like history repeating itself, though? Because in the 60s, JFK wanted nukes in Canada. And John Diefenbaker, who was PM at the time, said no. And the moment he was out of office, Lester Pearson kind of let them in. Well, not the moment he was out, but shortly thereafter. So, look, I think we always need to take defense seriously in Canada, and I would argue that for a lot of years we haven't. But that doesn't mean we should rush into major military projects just because the U.S. is doing it. And especially not when it's something tied to Trump, whose record with Canada, well, I'm not going there right now, but, I'm just saying it's not somebody we should follow without asking lots of questions. But it's not also, I don't think it's something we can ignore completely either. I mean, we share a continent with the U.S. Whatever they do militarily is going to impact us, whether we like it or not. But, that proximity doesn't have to mean blind agreement. So I think if we're going to be part of something like this, then it needs to be on our terms as much as possible. Transparency, real oversight, as Linda said. I mean, Linda brought up cost. I think that's a fair point to consider. I don't think it's about being passive or naive. We have to be smart about it. And, we have to make sure this is something that is going to serve Canada, and make sure we're not reacting out of fear or pressure from Washington.
Really appreciate the little history lesson there. An excellent reference back to our past. And I think it's fair to at least, bring forward or enter into the conversation the idea that Canada and the U.S. aren't exactly on the friendliest terms lately. At least that certainly was the case during the election campaign. So why now get in bed on a project that's many, many billions of dollars? Steve Bentley, your thoughts?
Many, many billions of dollars. 175 billion is the number that's being floated right now. But we're an integral part of North America. And so what the U.S. decides to do in some way will incorporate Canada into that. I think we have an ongoing issue with the U.S. right now in terms of the F-35 fighters and us maybe walking back from that decision. So that's one of the things we're currently in discussion with them on. And I think that if you think about Israel and the Iron Dome concept, and it's been very successful for them in terms of the incoming missiles from around the state of Israel, it's going to be a much broader project. And certainly it's going to take many, many years to even closely get it into play, because there's a lot that needs to be researched. There's a lot that needs to be built. There's a lot of funding that has to be sorted. You got to deal with all the politics of it. But look at where the world is right now. Look at North Korea, look at Russia, look at China, Iran, and everybody who's trying to develop a missile system or be nuclear capable is scary. And despite what the US is doing with Iran right now, basically saying you cannot enrich uranium, that's not going to happen unless Iran really, really capitulates. And I don't see that happening. Certainly since they signed an agreement the other day in terms of being cooperative with Russia in terms of similar issues. So I think it's something to investigate. I think that's the prudent thing to do. Whether it comes to fruition or not, I really don't know. Are we going to call Mexico into it as well? Potentially, because the U.S. has got to look at encircling their country. And part of that is incorporating our boundaries and incorporating the Mexican boundaries as well. So I think it's something we just need to be prudent about. We need to, as a country, say, yes, it's something we want to look at. We're not making a commitment. We're just saying, hey, let's investigate it. Let's see if it's warranted. Let's come down to dollars, right? And certainly the current prime minister has a lot on his agenda to try and address in terms of funding. Certainly from the military's perspective, rebuilding the military, creating a defense for Canada as opposed to just relying on the U.S. being there when we need them. So yeah, big thing, but I think we need to talk about it.
For what it's worth, retired Major General Scott Clancy told us on the show earlier today this is a much-needed defense system that would modernize NORAD and bring it up to date with current threats, which were real enough even 5 years ago when he left NORAD. So just something else to consider in the conversation. Steve Bentley, Linda Ockwell-Jenner, and David Kuhn with us on the Friday 4 Roundtable this morning. You might remember back during COVID, bubble zones were created around hospitals so that healthcare workers could get into and out of their places of work safely without fear of being harassed by protesters. Now, municipalities, including Toronto, Brampton, Vaughan, Ottawa, Calgary, considering bubble zones around places of worship, schools, daycare centers to prevent protests there. Do we need such things, these bubble zones? We'll talk about it with our panel as we continue the Mike Farwell Show this morning. It's the Friday 4 on 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. With us on the Friday 4 Roundtable this morning, David Kuhn is here, Steve Bentley as well, and Linda Ockwell-Jenner. City Council in Toronto yesterday passed a controversial bylaw, and they are not the first municipality to do so. This bylaw will prevent protests in a bubble of around 50 meters outside of places of worship, daycares, schools, and some other public institutions. And this is in response to what we have been seeing in the way of pro-Palestinian rallies and protests of late. I'll start with you on this one, David Kuhn. Is this a direction that our cities ought to be moving? Do we need these bubble zones for where protests can happen?
This bothers me, and it bothers me that we're even discussing it. I don't think we should be in a place where this has to be a debate. In a decent, respectful society, you shouldn't need a law or a rule to say that you shouldn't be protesting outside a synagogue or a daycare or school. That should just be obvious. It's not to say that protesting is bad. Protesting is a fundamental right, but so is being able to go about your day in peace. And there's a difference between holding institutions accountable and disrupting people's lives, especially those of families and children just trying to go about their day. When it comes to, the line gets crossed, cities do have to step in, and that's where I would agree with this. But I don't agree that we should need it. So yes, if some people refuse to show restraint, as you pointed out, Mike, we had this during COVID to protect hospitals and hospital workers and whatnot. We shouldn't have needed it then, but we did. And, again, let's not pretend that this is okay. It's not okay that we need it, but the fact that people are not being respectful of others just shows that, yes, we do.
Steve Bentley, your thoughts?
I so echo what David just said. I really respect people who respect others. And when it comes to protesting, there's a lot of foreign issues that have some play in Canada and some exposure in Canada, some to a large degree, some to a small degree. But we need to respect everybody. And one of those things is there is no need for protesting within the confines of a daycare or a school or a religious community or a church or synagogue or whatever. It really is prudent to know that there is the right to protest and they have a right to share and make sure they have the voice, but do it in front of an embassy or do it in front of a foreign government office or do it in a park. There's lots of opportunity. I just have a real bee under my bonnet when protests feel they can get involved and when it comes to I look at the truckers going and going down the 401 and blocking everybody the ability to commute to work. They have an issue, whatever it was at some point, but you should not infringe on other people carrying on their daily activities. So we need to respect the fact that everybody is in respect of what their protest is about, has some perspective on it, but they should not be infringing on other people. So I think even when it comes to children, why would you in any way think it's okay to be in front of a daycare or school and have protests? First of all, those children probably are intimidated, scared, have no idea what this is all about, despite the schools or whatever facility is trying to explain what's happening. It shouldn't be. So Toronto stepping up and finally putting and actually expanding it from 20 meters to 50 meters and getting rid of the need to have clarity as to whether it's applying or not is a good move. And I think we as other communities should adopt a similar thing. But as David said, having a law that says this is what we need to respect, it kind of falls on deaf ears to me. I really think people should just understand that.
Yeah, your point on other communities adopting such a bylaw, Steve, is not lost on me. It's why I brought it up on the show for a conversation yesterday, because I don't think Toronto will be the last municipality in this country to enact such a bylaw. Could it happen in the region of Waterloo? I don't think we've had quite the same nature of concern around the protests we've seen, but it is spreading nonetheless. There are many municipalities that have now done so. I think you both make excellent points too around take it to City Hall, take it to Parliament Hill, take it to Queen's Park, take it to Speaker's Corner. We used to have one of those, etc. Linda, what are your thoughts on this?
I agree with the guys. Definitely, we shouldn't need it. But since I've lived in Canada now since 1993, I don't feel as safe as I used to, even in my local community. And that's just on a normal day. And then I keep remembering what it was like in Ottawa when everybody took over and they would buy people's places of work. They would buy, shops. Some people even lived there in apartments. They were just making people's lives miserable. And that was a protest. And we don't want to stop people lawfully having their say. Otherwise, we wouldn't be Canada, we'd be another country. But I don't know whether you know this. Across the world, they are called safe access zones. They're not called bubbles, they're called safe access zones. So Australia has safe access zone legislation. It exists in 5 states and 2 territories. And I didn't look into this any further, but in Canada, we already have safe access zones permitted in 6 of the country's provinces. But I was a bit tired this morning, so I didn't get a chance to look into it anymore. It took me a while to wake up. In the United States, several states have established floating zones outside abortion clinics. That's an example, basically because of all the problems associated with that. So I agree with Steve and David in the sense that we shouldn't need to go to court or legislate this. It should be something that people should be able to protest and stay away from those places. Unfortunately, I don't know what's happening, I really don't. People just don't seem to respect the law anymore. They don't seem to care. We're becoming more of, I'll do what I want kind of place, which is very, very sad. So I want this to be a law. I want this to be so that people have to stay away. And if they cross that line, they should, be able to say, well, you have to leave the place where you are, or you'll be arrested, that kind of thing. Or if you're going to protest, do it properly and don't go inside the bubble or the safe access zone. But what we have to think about is how it's affecting people who are just trying to be lawful and get on with their lives. So this is the only way we can do it. If we don't do it, I shall be annoyed. And as Steve said, where children are concerned, what have they ever done to hurt anybody? Why would they have to watch this? So I'm in agreement.
My right to throw a punch ends at the tip of your nose. And to what David said in this initially, absolutely, we want to protect your right to protest, but that can't impede our ability, our right to a peaceful day in our free community. Great points raised, and we'll continue the conversation with our Friday 4 roundtable this morning on the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. We have talked about golden domes and bubble zones. Now we solve the issues at Canada Post. I have faith that our Friday 4 roundtable can do that, and I want to know. I mean, I really want to know. Are the Leafs ever going to win a Stanley Cup? Is this going to happen? Our Friday 4 roundtable continues on the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio.
Your job's a joke, you broke, your love life's the away. It's like you're always stuck in second gear, when it hasn't been your day, your week, your month, or even your year. But I'll be there for you.
So, as it turns out, everybody loves a TV show theme song. Our guests on the Friday 4 right into it. They're clapping along appropriately. Fridays mean our Friday 4 roundtable from 11 until noon. Fridays also mean All Request Friday here on the show, and we're playing your favorite TV show theme songs by request on the program today. That's, of course, the Rembrandts, and I'll Be There for You, the theme song from Friends, by request from Johan on the show today. With us on the Friday 4 roundtable, Steve Bentley, managing principal at Northern River Financial. Linda Ockwell-Jenner, president, motivationalsteps.com, and nominee for a Women of the Year award last evening. David Kuhn with us as well, the former board chair at KW Access Ability. Steve, I'll start with you on this next one, and it's a loaded question, isn't it? What in HE double hockey sticks are we going to do with Canada Post?
Are you sure you want me to get into this?
Absolutely, I do.
All right. Let's start with a little piece I read in the news the other day about disagreement between Canada Post and the union about having a 5-minute period before a meal to be able to wash their hands. That's in the union contract. And I'm looking at that and I'm saying, really? That to me is such a trivial thing. And this is just the extent of their inability to communicate. And so Canada Post wants to drop it. The union wants to keep it. I refer back to an industrial inquiry commission that was headed by an individual named William Kaplan about the current existence of Canada Post. And basically he said they're facing an existential crisis and are effectively insolvent. So you've got a union, you've got a union who is making demands to me, and they're walking a tight rope. This whole thing could result in a loss of a lot of jobs and the realization that it is essentially without money. So you're wanting to try and increase benefits. They're trying to be flexible. I mean, some of the things that the individual decided to mention was closing of some rural post office, getting rid of home delivery. And you look at the extent of the business. So Canada Post, in terms of Purolator, they really had a pickup in business when it came to COVID. And after that, they lost a substantial amount of business. And then they have a strike. And it's only going to cause, and did cause, a lot of small business owners, Canadians, just to say, I'm going to do things a different way. I'm not going to use the traditional post office. Personal mail delivery, as much as people like it, and those who have it, I'm sure really appreciate it. There's a lot of us that don't. There's a lot of us that rely on boxes. And I think somebody was on your show the other day who was talking about the fact that he just likes the ability to pull up in front of the super box, get out, pick up his mail, and mail any mail he may have, and then drive down the street, pull into a driveway. Not a big inconvenience at all. And look at what we're getting in mail these days, right? I mean, what's just happened yesterday is basically Canada Post deciding, they're really not progressing in these negotiations, really nothing meaningful. But I do respect the unions sort of not saying, okay, let's just go on strike today. They decided, okay, well, we're not going to accept any of our union workers to work overtime. Okay. But the fundamental part is the whole business model needs to change for Canada Post, or Canada Post will not be here without substantial infusion of government capital, which is an issue as itself, right? So, and this has gone back and forth. We've had negotiators, we've had mediators, we've had strikes, come on, people, stop playing in the sandbox, stop being children. Let's come together and come to an agreement. But I think my perspective is there's a lot of problems with Canada Post. They're not going away. They're only going to get worse unless there's some incredible change. And the only thing that's happened is the government's infused capital into it. For years, they haven't made substantive changes to the business model, and it's suffering. And the union needs to respect the fact that that is the fact. And to be able to expect more than 13.6% over 4 years, they started at 26. Now they're down to 19. These people just have to get together and figure it out.
It is a tough one for people to swallow, for sure. The average Joe or Jane is unlikely to be getting 13.6% increases over the next 4 years. Linda, I'll bring it to you next.
This is interesting because Canada's going through an awful time at the moment for reasons we all know. And there's been much talk about pulling together and supporting each other. So this is the wrong time for anybody to be thinking about causing problems for their customers and going on strike. I understand that they're not happy with the wages or the way they work, but we've all had to go through that sometime. I know I have, and if I need the money, I will work. Don't believe in strikes because the healthcare people can't strike, we've just said they want 19% over 4 years, I believe. So their accumulated losses since 2018 are more than $3 billion. And it faces a critical financial situation now, including a potential cash shortfall in 2025. The annual report indicates that the corporation's current loans and borrowings of $1 billion, with $500 million due in July 2025. What are they thinking about? So to address this, Canada Post expects to require at least $1 billion in new borrowings. Who's going to do that? The government shouldn't do it, or other liquidity measures for 2025. It just goes on. Now, we've just lost the Bay. The Bay was owned by an American person. It was our, most treasured whatever. We've lost so many other things. That's gone. I know Canadian Tire have got the brand and everything, but that's not the point. So now, do we really need Canada Post? I don't think so. I really don't think so. I've got a mailbox like Steve. I don't mind going out to it. I kept phoning him up about all the rubbish in there that I didn't want. I just had to put a little sign in there and I don't get any more rubbish. But basically, not enough people need Canada Post anymore. The government shouldn't bail them out because they're already trying to bail out Canada from being stolen by Trump. So I think, this elbows up kind of deal. What is the matter with the union? All these people will be laid off, they won't have a job, and then they'll be grumbling that somebody didn't look after them. The government's not going to pay me any money if I lose my job or I haven't got enough money in my business. I don't think that should be bailed out. I'm very annoyed with them. And basically, they either go out, they go bust and they disappear, or they grow up, put the big girl pants on, as they say, and say, it's about Canada, it's not about us. They are earning money. It's not like they're not earning money. I don't care. I haven't got a delivery to my home. I don't care if they don't get that anymore. I don't care if they don't do weekends. Basically, I'm sorry, they're spoilt brats.
It doesn't seem as though they're willing to move to a more modern way of doing things. How about fewer days a week of door-to-door delivery? How about adding some weekends, etc.? David Kuhn, how are we going to fix Canada Post?
Yeah, it's, I think this is a question we've been asking for a long time. Look, Steve and Linda, they both touched on a lot of things I was going to mention, but I'll echo what Steve said. I mean, for Canada Post to be successful, I think they need to change. They need to modernize, and they need to change the mandate, and to put it on a better footing or a better course, because right now it's not sustainable. It's bankrupt, and I think people often think, oh, it's government has money. It's not how it works. If something's not efficient, you shouldn't keep pouring money into it. Other countries, and I did look this up a little bit, other countries have turned their post office or postal services rather into community hubs. They offer, different kinds of service. I think I read somewhere about, Wi-Fi, broadband access, banking, prescription delivery. Maybe we could look into ways where we can expand Canada Post into other avenues. I don't favor getting rid of it, as Linda said, just because I think it does still provide an essential service to a lot of people, particularly in far-reaching areas. So I think we need to be mindful of that. But again, as Steve and Linda said, as it currently is, it's not working, and I think people really should come together and come up with a solution rather than the union saying one thing, management saying another. But I mean, when do people really come together and agree? Unless we're talking about something like, again, Linda mentioned Donald Trump. With Donald Trump, it's elbows up, and we're all united, or at least a lot of us. And when it comes to internal stuff like what's going on at Canada Post, well, then we jump on each other, or they jump on each other, and that's sad.
Modernization would seem to be a path forward here. What that looks like, I guess we'll have to try to find some compromise between the two sides. Can I just
add something? Yeah, real quickly. This is an opportunity for another business to take control of the people who need the post in faraway places. This is a really good possibility that somebody can make a better business of it than Canada Post, so they should be careful.
Linda Ockwell-Jenner, David Kuhn, Steve Bentley with us on the Friday Four Roundtable this morning. A quick break, and when we come back, speaking of questions that have been asked over and over and over again, come on, when are my Leafs going to win a Stanley Cup? Is it ever going to happen? This is the Mike Farwell Show and our Friday Four Roundtable on 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. It is an instantly recognizable instrumental. Let me get this straight. Bob and Shanaz today asked to hear the theme to Hawaii Five-0. Dan and Annie were emailing yesterday about it. We're playing your requests of favorite TV show theme songs on this All Request Friday here on the program. And we're going to have a little bit of fun with our Friday Four Roundtable as we wrap it up today. Steve Bentley, Linda Ockwell-Jenner, David Kuhn with us. I got to talk about my favorite NHL team because maybe these fine folks have some answers. Here's the crazy thing. My favorite NHL team, which might make me crazy, is the Toronto Maple Leafs. I cannot stand the long-standing arch rival of the Maple Leafs. I won't even mention their team name on the show. But I promised that if the Farwell for Hire 50-50 jackpot got to $100,000, I would wear the hat of the team that shall not be named. It's in the studio with me, and the jackpot just went over $98,000. I am ski rude. There's no way this is not getting to $100,000. Anyway, Linda, start us off with this one. Can you give me some hope here? Like, are the Leafs ever going to win?
Is it correct that they last won in 1967?
Why do you got to be that way, Linda?
Because I love you all so much. I want to see you in pain. So basically, it feels very much like the England World Cup, because they're in a bit of a pickle. They haven't won the World Cup, I think, since 1966. But their problem is this: because it's a World Cup, they have lots of people from all over the world join England. But then when it's a World Cup, those players have to go back to their own countries, and we're left with no good players anymore. I don't know what the problem is with the Maple Leafs. Are they complacent? Are they, tired? Are they not paid enough money?
Oh, they're paid enough money, Linda.
Yeah, I can't knock it because this is not my thing, so I'm going to leave it to you guys. But come on, people, show England you can do it, please.
Do it for England.
Yes.
David, what say you, sir?
Well, I want to know what Shanahan thinks. No. Look, okay, too soon. Sorry, if you're listening, Brendan, I'm sorry. Look, as a Leafs fan, I have to believe they'll win one day. But I've been saying that before I could spell Stanley Cup. So, at this point, cheering for the Leafs feels less like fandom and more like character development. How much can you be kicked and then keep getting back up? So, look, they've got the talent. I don't think anyone will question that. There's lots of talented people on the team. I think the problem is the execution. They play like a team built for highlights. And then when it comes to playoffs, like, what happened? So, I think that old school mentality is what they need to get back to. Discipline, sacrifice, playing for each other, play as a team. And I think, to say this every year since 67? I mean, I was born in 1988. I've never seen them win a cup. So I'd like to see it before I die. But no, do I think they will? Yes, I do. But I think it'll probably be the year that I finally stop watching. But no, I'll keep cheering, and I'll keep saying maybe next year because like it's the lifestyle, because it is. But no, do I want them to win? Yes, I do, and I think they will. But we just have to see some changes.
I'd like to lead that execution you talked about, if you don't mind. And I like the line, since before I could spell Stanley Cup. And it's character developing, isn't it, Steve Bentley?
Well, let's put it in perspective. I was 4 years old when they last won the Stanley Cup, and I can retire in 4 years. So, another thing I like to say is I'm a diehard Leafs fan, and I've been dying harder every year for a long time. So the Leafs have made a move. They're getting rid of some of the old guard. Brandon Shanahan is no longer president of the Maple Leafs. I think that was a figurative move. I think they needed to make some kind of move. But let's remember, they did get to the second round of the playoffs this year, right? I mean, I could bring up the team that should remain nameless, but I know I'll get in trouble if I do that. So at least they didn't get very far, right? But I think there's a lot of questions that just come up. I mean, I like the fact we've got an experienced coach in Berube. I think that change was needed. It's a little immature. It's a little early to really judge him on his success, but at least he got them to the second round. They can play. And in some cases, they just fall apart. I mean, that last game, I don't know what happened. I really, really, really don't. You look at a couple of the really highly paid assets in Matthews and Marner, something was wrong. They just did not have their game. And I really don't understand why. I think there may have been some injury issues on Matthews' part. But we needed that performance, and we're paying for that performance. And for whatever reason, they didn't get it, right? To lose star goalie in an early part, seeing Wall take over. I mean, they both are good goalies, but that was a substantive shock, I'm sure. There's a couple of stars that came up and really played well, but we keep saying this thing, and it's like a broken record. Are the Leafs ever going to win the Stanley Cup, right? I will not commit to that because I just can't figure out why they just can be and do as well as they did in the regular league season, but at least they made it through the first round of the playoffs.
Yeah, but that's
was a squeaker.
That's all we say.
That was
Steve.
a squeaker.
At least they made it through the first round. You were 4 years old when they last won. I was born 4 years after they last won. So like David, but I've been waiting 17 years longer. I was in high school when David was born, and I was waiting for a Stanley Cup then. They better win one
but
before I
I could
die.
spell Stanley Cup.
Yeah, I learned to. I learned to. Steve Bentley, Managing Principal, Northern River Financial. Linda Ockwell-Jenner, President, MotivationalSteps.com and Women of the Year nominee. And David Kuhn, former board chair at KW Accessibility. Thank you all for your time today. Thanks for having some fun with us on the show, and enjoy your weekend ahead.
And you. Take care.
Bye, everyone.
Take care.
It's our
Bye.
Friday 4 Roundtable on the Mike Farwell Show. 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. Always good fun with our Friday 4 Roundtable. And boy, oh boy, you've got less than 60 seconds. Go to cf5050.ca right now. Get your ticket and a chance at the $1,000 early bird prize, which we are awarding in 35 seconds. That prize courtesy of TLC Pet Food as we watch our jackpot go over $98,000. Take-home prize worth more than $49,000. We will award the $1,000 early bird prize to one of our lucky winners, our ticket purchasers at cf5050.ca. The name to be announced following this update from the 570 News Center. Stay with us on the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio.
There's a voice that keeps on calling me. Down the road, that's where I'll always be. Every stop I make a new friend. Can't stay for long, just turn around and I'm gone again. Maybe tomorrow I'll want to settle down. Until tomorrow I'll just keep moving on. So if you want to join me for a while, just grab your hat, we'll travel like that's hobo style. Maybe tomorrow I'll want
we have to hear a little bit of the Littlest Hobo theme song, because we're about to award a $1,000 cash prize from TLC Pet Food in the Farwell for Hire 50-50 raffle. And the owner of TLC Pet Food, who, like, see, the guy's on the road doing business because you're taking all of his ding-dang money in this 50-50 raffle. Eric Cuddiss joins us by phone this afternoon. Mr. Cuddiss, good afternoon.
Hello, Michael. How are you?
I am doing really well, thank you, sir. How are you?
Good. This is the part of the campaign where I like to normally get eyes on you and see how you're holding up with every window in the region cleaned and every garden planted, and see if you're still walking or not.
Managed to do some work in the rain this week, Eric. Both the gardening and the window washing. Today I get to go up a ladder, but I'm feeling good because the 50-50 jackpot is moving, and we're making some good money for cystic fibrosis.
Yes, and I see the smart people at Oktoberfest have named your Jen the Woman of the Year there, finally realizing she's not just the brains and beauty behind the organization, but all the work, too. So that was quite a feather in the cap.
Yeah, it certainly was wonderful to have Jen recognized as a nominee in the community service category last night, because you're absolutely right, and you know, Eric, as well as anybody, how much work she does behind the scenes and how much work I do not do at the front of this campaign. So
well, there you go. And just before we jump to the winner, I did want to recognize again those that cost me money. Rhonda Erb at Heart of the Matter Professional Organizing, and the iconic Jay Taylor of Morty's Pub fame. Jay did make me wait till I was in the car again before he jumped the other $2,500 into the pot. But thank you, Morty's, for that. And I spent a lot of my misspent youth eating chicken wings and cold beverages at Morty's, and will continue. So thank you to those guys for costing me another $5,000 towards the great cause.
That is not misspent time at Morty's, Eric, I assure you, but I hear where you're coming from. And yes, when Eric was last here, he put up a $5,000 matching challenge that was immediately answered by Rhonda and by Jay. And Eric, since we're talking about money, specifically yours, we have our early bird prize winner on the line with us. Can you talk with her for a moment?
Absolutely.
Mary Dopp, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Mary, you just won $1,000 of Eric Cuddiss's and TLC Pet Foods money.
Thank you very much. I certainly appreciate it.
Where are you going to spend it, Mary?
Well, I'm on my way to Fort Wayne, Indiana to visit family. So I think we're going to go out for a sushi dinner.
Wonderful.
It's a great idea. When did you buy your ticket, Mary?
I bought it about a month ago.
Oh, so you were one of the really early entries.
You bet. I didn't want to miss any of the early bird prizes.
Well, you come up with the very last.
1,000 cold hard cash.
That's right. Oh, I think we're losing Mary's connection there.
Oh, hello?
Hi there, we still got you. Yeah, so now you have 1,000 in cold hard cash, Mary. The last early bird prize is yours.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. I certainly appreciate it. And I wish you all the best, Mike, as you continue your journey.
Mary, thank you so very much for that. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Somebody will be in touch to get you that money, Mary. We promise you that. We got to let Mary go because her phone's starting to cut out on us. But Mary Dopp, right there on the air, is our $1,000 winner. Eric, you going to be okay at TLC Pet Food? Are you going to be back anytime soon? You have to keep working to make up all this money.
Well, it's 8 till faint 24/7 at the moment. So, I mean, we've got a lot in this campaign so far. We'll see what else is coming. Now, as you know, last year in the first early bird, I was the lucky winner. So this time, to avoid that kind of red-faced situation, I haven't bought my ticket. So I'm about to jump in now. So I can't win an early bird, but we're going to get this thing well over 100,000. So I hope your head's cold because you're going to have to put a hat on.
I was just going to say, could you please not do that? Because I said once it hits 100, I have to put on this hat of this hockey team. Oh my gosh, you have no idea how much I don't like it.
I love it. But as always, I'm watching the ticker go, and 98,420 at the moment. But it will guaranteed get over 100,000 at least, and then let's see if it takes off from there.
Just before I let you go, Eric, and get back to your busy work day, I know that TLC Pet Food is quite the little success story in New Hamburg. Expansion, brand new facility. Tell us a little bit about the business.
Sure. I mean, we started out in 1994 doing things a little differently. We pride ourselves on the quality of our product, the quality of our service, and the quality of our value. And of course, we home deliver, as we heard in the commercial spot before we came on here. And we like to get the best to your best friend and bring it to you. So we sell exclusively online at tlcpetfood.com. Very proud of what we've built and proudly Canadian. So if you, like the rest of us, is looking for a good Canadian product, try out TLC Pet Food.
Certainly can't go wrong. And Eric, we are so grateful at Farwell for Hire for your generosity. Your wife, Sandra, the entire team at TLC Pet Food, you've been tremendous supports to us for years. And we've got this jackpot over $98,000, thanks in large part to the 2 early bird prizes you put up this year. Thank you very much for that.
Keep fighting, and we'll see you next week as long as you're still on your feet.
I promise I will be. I wouldn't miss it for the world, my friend. Thank you again.
All right, talk soon.
Eric Cuddiss, owner at TLC Pet Food. He puts the story perfectly. Support local, support Canadian. TLCpetfood.com. Right to your door, their best to your best friend. And just salt of the earth, terrific people. You can still get in on the Farwell for Hire 50-50 draw. We just awarded $1,000, our final early bird prize, to Mary Dopp. But the jackpot is worth more than $98,000. That's a take-home prize for you of $49,000 plus. That's $49,000 plus for cystic fibrosis, which is the best part, right? I want you to win too, but we're helping cystic fibrosis research. And I promised, if the jackpot gets to $100,000, take home $50,000, I will wear the hat of the team that shall not be named. The hat is in the studio. I think it's all but inevitable we reach 100,000, but I will not put the hat on until the jackpot gets to $100,000. Free Phones Friday, where you get to make the call and begin the conversation, begins right after this on the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. might be the best chair dancer in Waterloo Region. I mean, have I got some chair dancing moves. That is the theme song from the Partridge Family by request on your All Request Friday, playing favorite TV show theme songs. Donna and George wanted to hear that one. Free Phones Friday underway. Let's start with Jersey Bill. Good afternoon, Billy.
Okay, here's my theme song, which I promised I would sing rather than have the poor woman look it up. Swamp fox, tail on his head. Nobody knows where the swamp fox at. Swamp fox, hiding in the glen. He run away to fight again.
Swamp fox?
It goes on from there.
Okay.
And it was a mini series in the wonderful world of Disney. And and what was really funny about it was the actual swamp fox was 5'0", and he was played by the great Canadian Leslie Nielsen, who was about 6'2".
Well, I think I just got a new nickname then. You can call me Swamp Fox from now on, because I'm about 5'0", Billy.
Yeah, he was the Swamp Fox Francis Marion. He was an American colonel who bothered Cornwallis as he was going through the Carolinas. And the other funny thing is if Leslie Nielsen had a relative involved with the American Revolution, they probably were on the loyalist side, being that he was a great Canadian. I've put in some money. I haven't asked you to come by. Actually, we haven't been in too good a health. My wife had a bout of pneumonia earlier in the month, and I then had some sort of respiratory thing that I couldn't break for 10 days. So rather than exposing you to our germs, I've played the 50-50, and I think I'd like to give another donation along the way as well.
Well, thank you for that, Billy. I appreciate your ongoing support. You've been with us for many years on this campaign, and it means a lot. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. And let's see. What else I want to say? Just looking at that American situation. We're talking about those billions of dollars that Mr. Trump wants to spend on that Golden Dome, as he calls it. Everything has to be golden, but the way he's carried on recently, he's doing the business of the United States the way he's done his own business. He didn't like to play his own contractors. He went bankrupt and expected the banks to bail him out, and that's exactly the way he's dealing with the American economy and the world economy. And yes, as has been said, nobody should really trust him. And I certainly hope if Canada goes into any agreement with him that they look after their own dollars and not give him a blank check, because he's never shown that he's been very good at dealing with that.
All right, Billy, appreciate the call and the perspective from Jersey Bill, who now makes his home here in Canada. If you want to get your own 50-50 ticket in the Farwell for Hire 50-50 draw, jackpot more than $98,000, cf5050.ca. That means you're going to get more than $49,000. Johan, good afternoon.
Yeah, afternoon. I was calling because I'm one of those mental health survivors, they call us. Do you know what I mean by that?
I sure do.
1980, I was hospitalized because someone was scared about what I was doing in London Psych down here in London. And I was there, started just over Christmas until February sometime. And then they let me out as an outpatient, and then I was free to go.
How are you doing today, Johan? How are you doing today?
Well, I made like a lot of money, but I want to tell you what the key is.
Okay, what's the key?
You have to have a family like I had. My mother, my father, my brothers, they all supported me.
Yeah, you know what? And we talk about that in the mental health space a lot. Absent those supports, things get pretty dicey. Doug, good afternoon. You're on Talkback.
Hello, Mike.
Douglas.
I told you I might try and get in and get my 2 cents worth in today, didn't I?
You did.
I did. And you want to know something? I'm glad I did, because for what it's worth, I'm very happy for Mary. I know she calls in a lot, and for an older adult, she's got a very, very progressive outlook. She always seems to have really good timely comments on whatever your topic of the day is, and I like listening to her talk. So I'm very happy that she was able to get in and get the early bird prize. So
no, that was a different Mary. I don't want you to don't confuse anybody, Doug. If
it sounded like her.
No, if our Mary calls up, boy oh boy, we'll be in trouble. I don't think it was her. I didn't pick up that in her voice.
Oh, that's my bad. Then.
Okay.
Well, I'm not listening very well. You know, my head's plugged up anyway. So there you go. Anyway, I just wanted to the last thing I wanted to mention was whether it's a symbolic move or not. After was it 2011? How long it's been that Shanahan's been president? They had to do something. There's going to be more moves, I would expect, and I don't care what anyone says. I think Austin Matthews had some very, very big problems that he's not letting out as far as the injury goes. He got cross-checked and hacked so many times, and just, he never stopped. So I just hope things work out. Craig Berube is good for them. I haven't seen them win Stanley Cup either. I was in bed when they won the last one. So anyway, I hope things just start to sort out for them. That's all.
All right, Doug. Appreciate that. We got to take a quick break. We'll come back with more Free Phones Friday on the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV.
Green Acres is the place to be. Farm living is the life for me. Land spreading out so far and wide. Keep Manhattan, just give me that countryside.
Oh my goodness, some Green Acres. Zsa Zsa Gabor. And by request for Curtis on this All Request Friday on the program, we are playing your favorite TV show theme songs as part of the All Request Friday today. So many coming in. We'll get to as many as we can before the end of the show. Free Phones Friday continues. Kyle, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. I heard a fun fact the other day. I don't know if this is true or not, but what's this that I hear that the Toronto Maple Leafs are not going to be on the Stanley Cup anymore? They're on the bottom ring of the Stanley Cup, and I guess this is the year that they're changing the ring or something. So the Toronto Maple Leafs, since they won the last Stanley Cup, that's becoming taken off. Is this true, Mike? Hello?
Are you trying to hurt me, Kyle? What are you doing? What are you doing to me? Why do you do this? Why? I answer your phones. I'm nice to you.
I was asking just a simple question. I just want to know because you're the hockey man of fact. You know.
Okay. Do you need me a favor, Kyle?
Hold on. I think William Nylander.
Hang on. Can you ask me another question, please?
Ask you another.
Exactly. I just wanted to cut you off mid-word. That's what I wanted to do to you. I've been nothing but nice to you, pal. Nothing but nice. And this is what I get in return, eh? That's fine. I see how it is with you, Kyle. See if I answer your phone calls or play your catch-up song again anytime soon. It's Free Phones Friday on the Mike Farwell Show. More calls coming up. Mayor Jake Zafari, you're next on 570 News Radio and Rogers TV.
Come ride the little train that is rolling down the tracks to the junction. Forget about your cares, it is time to relax at the junction. Lots of curves, you bet, and even more when you get to the junction.
The Petticoat Junction. By request from Maureen on the show today. It's an All Request Friday. We're playing your favorite TV show theme songs. And that train horn, probably not as annoying as the train horns that continue to disrupt sleeping patterns and the general quietness of a neighborhood in Kitchener and the Lancaster and Victoria area. The work on those tracks was supposed to be done earlier this month. Now it might be done by the end of the month. These horns are going off at all hours of the day. It's kind of hilarious, unless you live there. We're going to talk more about it on the show on Monday. I thought I'd use that Petticoat Junction song as an opportunity to shamelessly promote what's coming up on the show Monday, because those horns keep a blasting and the work should have been done by now. But if you're not living there, what do you care, right? Hey, Metrolinx, get the work done faster. Free Phones Friday continues. Mayor Jake, good afternoon.
Mike, how are you now?
I'm good, and you?
I'm going to go off. And I don't care. I don't feel bad. I'm going to say it how it is.
Okay, bring it on.
I saw some of the videos and images over the weekend of these hooligans deciding to shoot fireworks at each other, run rampant, steal from the fireworks stands at Fisher Holman and Highland. And I'm going to say this. I'm going to say it once. If I'm elected, I'm going straight to Cupcake Ford. I'm going straight to Kearney. We need to have a accountability act for parents. Parents, do better. Talk to your kids. We have kids throwing rocks through windows at buildings, I'm hearing. And what I would suggest and what I would put forward is to have parents fined $5,000 for every time their child's arrested and convicted. The parents must face the penalty on top of it. Any kid under the age of 17 that's convicted of a crime in Canada, the parents should face the fine as well. Enough is enough. It's time to bring law and order back to this country, and kids need to stop. It's okay to have fun and to enjoy life a little bit, but that shooting fireworks at each other and throwing rocks through building windows, enough is enough.
Mayor Jake, appreciate the call. I hope you enjoy the weekend ahead. What I like about Mayor Jake is he gets right to the point, and he says, I'm going to tell it like it is, and I don't care. I'm just going to tell you how I feel. That's what we're here for. Let's have a dialogue. And, you know, it's interesting that Mayor Jake brings up this idea because it's not unprecedented that the parent pays for the sins of the child, so to speak. But I was thinking about that earlier this week because on Tuesday night, my Farwell for hire job was out in Mannheim, and part of that quote-unquote job, because it wasn't hard at all. In fact, I had a blast going over to the nearby park in the town of Mannheim, where the neighborhood gathered, and they played some pickup soccer, and they played some pickup baseball, and it was just dozens of kids and a few parents, and everybody was just having a good old time, taking advantage of a recreational opportunity made possible by the existence of the park and the township's provision to let the neighborhood use it. And I thought to myself, based on what I had seen with these kids running around, enjoying the park, etc., being around parents, being around each other, having a good time, are those the same kinds of kids that would be likely to go and engage in the behaviors we saw on Victoria Day? Shooting fireworks at one another, engaging in behavior that shows a disregard for one's community or one's neighbor. Of the 3 people arrested following fireworks shenanigans in downtown Kitchener, one of them was just 14. I don't think any of the kids that I was playing soccer and baseball with on Tuesday night were the kind that were going to go out after that game and then shoot fireworks at other people. So maybe Mayor Jake is onto something is what I'm getting at here. Zafari, Free Phones Friday to you. Good afternoon.
Happy Friday, Mike.
Happy Friday, Zafari.
Thank you, Mike. I don't know, man. I was in a rush. I made my donation to, what do you call the 50-50 fiber?
Yes.
But I find my receipt, my email that it went somewhere in Toronto.
Sorry, you what's in Toronto?
They sent me something that it says it went all the way to somewhere from here, Kitchener to Toronto.
Well, that's Zafari. That's where the main office of Cystic Fibrosis Canada is.
Perfect.
Okay.
Perfect. So this morning I was talking about Post Canada.
Yes.
And I was not listening back to my voice because I didn't have a radio. What I was saying, I couldn't finish. What I was saying, I think, obviously we all have to support Canada Post. And also, I think as far as I send that...
Why do we have to support Canada Post?
I know, but what I'm saying, I think it depends on some location, because when you deliver something to different location, when they say you pay express, they deliver within 1 or 2 days. But some location, I don't know what kind of business do, what kind of trick they use, they don't send it within 5 days, but they charge you express. I think it depends on the location of Post Canada. I think Post Canada, they should, make a meeting, whatever. They should find out why this location not doing proper job, right?
Yeah, I see what you mean. I don't think, though, but they shouldn't offer express or charge you for express if they can't meet what they claim they can meet.
Yeah, I hope I can explain to you. So some location, when they say within 1-2 days, they do it. But some location...
I know, but what I'm saying, Zafari, what I'm saying back to you is if the location... If the location knows it can't deliver in 2 days, then it should not offer that service.
Exactly.
Yes.
It happened to me 3 times.
Yeah. No, I get it. I get it. And listen, I feel your frustration on that. I do. Everybody is frustrated as HE double hockey sticks with Canada Post right now. Figure it out, fellas. Acknowledge that the business model is bust. Let's rebuild it from the ground up, just like the Bionic Man. We can build it better. Free Phones Friday continues on the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV.
Here we come, walking down the street. We get the funniest looks from everyone we meet. Hey, hey, we're the monkeys, and people say we monkey around, but we're too busy singing to put anybody down.
It's Davy Jones and the Monkees by request from Gary on this All Request Friday here on the show. We're playing your favorite TV show theme songs by request today. Marty sends a message to Mike at 570news.com, says she's having the best time listening today. That's great. So the talk show's just meh, but if I play TV show theme songs, well then everything's great, eh? I see how this works. Free Phones Friday continues with Rob. Good afternoon, Rob.
Hi, Mike. It's how are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you. And you?
I am doing quite well.
Good.
I'm busy working at home.
Wait a minute.
You know who I am, don't you?
I do now. You got some kind of nerve, buddy.
Oh, you have to, because...
you got some kind of nerve.
I can tell you 2 other days that were a heck of a lot worse than yesterday, and now I've got a third reason that my wife reminded me of, which I'll share with you shortly.
Okay, so can I let folks know who this is?
Oh, certainly.
Thank you. Rob Kuhn, my buddy, a.k.a. I know him as Kitchener Cooney, works for Environment Canada and has for how many years now, good sir?
37.
Oh, bless your heart. 37 years with Environment Canada, and I admittedly give Kitchener Cooney a very hard time, especially when the weather sucks like it does now. I'm sorry, sir. Over to you.
Oh, you don't have to be sorry. I walked in that crap yesterday, and I didn't get wet. But yes, I've got 2 other days that are even worse. One was May 11th, 10th to 11th, just 5 years ago.
Come on.
We had 5 centimeters of snow on the ground in the morning. It was windy, it was cold, and there were a few showers. And it got up to maybe 5 degrees. I think that's number one. That was just awful. Another one going back to 1974, May 16th or so, we had a big rainfall, 40 to 50 millimeters. Temperatures were similar to today. It was wet all day. I vaguely remember it. But that led to the huge floods in Cambridge and Kitchener and the Grand River on May 17th. It's that famous photo of the cops standing at Dixon and Ainsley Corner in Cambridge. So we had a big flood after that. And that was an awful day as well. So I think those 2 were worse than yesterday, but yesterday's probably a close third.
Now, Cooney, you know that I've got 2 important Farwell for Hire fundraising events coming up this weekend that will be outdoors. Tomorrow from 12:30 until 3, we're washing cars at Kitchener Fire Headquarters on Strasbourg Road. And on Sunday from noon to 3, we're going to be barbecuing up some pulled pork and brisket Sammys at the Lab Street Eats on Victoria Street South in downtown Kitchener. I need to be outdoors. I need the weather to not be terrible. What can you do for me?
We've been working hard on that as well, as same as with your weather specialists. Tomorrow, it doesn't look to be completely shower-free. We're forecasting a 30 to 40% chance of showers. It looks like if there is anything, it will be brief, and I think most of the time will be dry. And I've looked at some computer models, and some of them are actually dry during tomorrow afternoon, and I'm working and I'm hoping that's going to be the case. It's going to be breezy. It's going to be only about 12 degrees or something like that. I'm sorry about that. I'll apologize now, but we'll try and get that temperature up for you. Sunday looks to be a little better. It's going to be maybe in the mid-teens, a mix of sun and cloud we're going with, and temperatures, again, in mid-teens, and there's a small chance of a shower, but it looks to be better than Saturday. But I'm hoping tomorrow will be dry for the car wash event, and there's like a lot of people to show up. Maybe even we will come out. You never know.
Rob, it's great to hear from you today. Thanks for being such a good sport and for putting up with all of my crap behind the scenes.
Yesterday was a good day. We got some Danish short cookies for you, and they lasted maybe, some of them only about 2 minutes.
Aren't those little suckers? They're good, eh?
Oh, they're delicious.
Thanks, Cooney.
Take care. Have a great day.
You too, my friend. You can get those hat trick shortbread cookies from Dana Short Gourmet and Gifts on Herb Street, too. They're a shortbread cookie. They're called the Hat Trick because they've got 3 different kinds of chips in them. Oh, they're delicious. And a portion of proceeds from every sale of those Hat Trick shortbread cookies at Dana Short goes to Farwell for Hire. So there you go. Mary, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. You shouldn't be eating all those little Hat Trick.
I know. Mary, listen, I've been eating Hat Trick cookies. I've been eating butter tarts from Just Love Pie because they support the campaign. I've been drinking Face for Radio IPA from Block 3. Mikey needs to go on a diet.
Yeah, well, Can you touch your toes yet?
No way. Are you kidding me? My fat belly gets in the way, Mary.
Well, listen, we got to do something about it. But anyway,
later. I'll do it later.
I heard, and I think his name was Doug, that he thought I won the money.
It was not you winning the money, was it?
No.
It was a different Mary.
Doug. He gave me a nice accolade.
He did. He said he loves the sound of your voice. He loves hearing you on the show.
Oh, you know what? I love him back.
You know what? I guarantee you he's still listening, and you just made him smile.
Yeah, and I wish you a good success this weekend. My son-in-law works at the Strasbourg Road Fire Hall. I'm sure they're going to have some volunteers from the fire brigade.
They certainly are.
Yeah, I don't know if he's going to be there, but if he is, I'm going to say, you say hello to Mike for me.
I will be there. I'll be working off all my Hat Trick shortbread cookies.
Anyway, it's lovely that you have a lovely beloved.
I know. How cool is that? Woman of the Year nominee, huh?
Oh, my gosh.
Woman of the Year, Mary. Of the Year.
Oh, I'm behind her. She's a silent, hard worker.
She's the only hard worker because it sure as hell ain't me.
Yeah, you're very, very blessed. So listen, have a successful weekend.
Thank you, Mary.
Bye.
Bye. Listen, tomorrow, I've done car washes in the past for fundraising. And to be honest with you, it can get brutal in the heat. So I'm not too fussed about 12 degrees tomorrow. Stay dry. You get to stay in your car. Come on by Kitchener Fire between 12:30 and 3 tomorrow afternoon on Strasbourg Road. We'll wash your car for you. You make a donation to Cystic Fibrosis and Farwell for Hire. Win. Free Phones Friday continues on the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV.
Nothing day and suddenly make it all seem worthwhile. Well, it's you, girl, and you should know it. With each glance and every little movement you show it. Love is all around, no need to waste it. You can have the time, why don't you take it? You're gonna make it after all.
Oh boy, I don't want to say best for last because we've had a lot of great TV show theme songs today, but my, Penny, great request for Mary Tyler Moore. Even with the cat meowing at the end, it's fine. I can get over that. I got a message from my buddy Craig who said, I see what you're doing here. You are waiting until the jackpot hits $100,000 at 12:59 p.m., and then you only have to wear that hat for a minute. Craig, I would never do that. I'm a man of my word. I said if the Farwell for Hire 50-50 jackpot reaches $100,000, I will wear the hat of the team that shall not be named for the entire Talkback Hour on the show. The jackpot is $98,680. I have no doubt by Monday it'll be at $100K, but whenever it reaches the next day, or that day if it's before noon, I'll wear the hat, okay? Please buy a 50/50 ticket at cf5050.ca. Help us raise money for cystic fibrosis research and maybe win a take-home prize right now of more than $49,000. If that take-home prize gets to $50,000, overall jackpot $100,000, I'm putting on the hat of the team that shall not be named, and I'm going to wear it for a full hour on the show. Please also consider joining us this weekend. We're going to be at Kitchener Fire headquarters on Strasbourg Road tomorrow afternoon from 12:30 until 3. It's a car wash. You come by, you make a donation, we wash your car. It's that simple. And then on Sunday from noon until 3 at the Lab Street Eats on Victoria Street South at Oak in downtown Kitchener. You'll love it. It's brisket, pulled pork Sammy's, unreal stuff. Noon to 3 Sunday at the Lab, all in support of Farwell for Hire and cystic fibrosis research. I hope to see you over the weekend if you're not sick of me yet, okay? And if you are sick of me, I'll just come back Monday morning at 9. My name is Mike Farwell. Thank you very much for listening. Bye for now.